Fridays
Okay.
is too, because I really don't expect to be super functional.
We should be on.
I've got Listen to Science Friday at 1. Oh, let's see. I got it. There's a trash can approaching someone. The telescoping microphone. Yeah, it's not a very good spy. Why is it a Geico commercial? Yep, we on. We got the small can. Richie, very good for his game maker.
I beg your pardon?
Which is fine, we're gonna fire the game back up.
Yes.
It's heard through a dreadful yawn. Amjoy says, okay, we should be back.
Yes, that's... I know that's me.
I know that's you. I'm being butt.
Okay. Repair the little scrape I got because I couldn't steer.
Learn to cow, dude.
Boo.
Move, you mean. I'm causing trouble.
Cows. Okay. One sec.
We need to restart.
Yeah, but I want to be able to...
Reach for your dog.
I want to be able to clear out this one. Which means I need one more bronze wood, which means I need to fight...
You can get that from the beach.
Yeah, but that's... I need to deliver it here.
You live back. I'm pretty certain London's like central.
Yeah, but I can kill a scribe spinster for that. So like I was seeing there, one of those is for Worldberry Juxtamare. I already have what I need for it. I can go out that way, head up to the whatever it's called, Sky Hinge, and carefully pick out a single dude.
If you're going to get anywhere near Skyhenge, I think you're going to want to drop some time.
You're right.
That whole area of Albion is just asking for a game over from
Yeah. Okay. For some reason, I kind of expected returning to London to...
It does after a certain number of days.
Okay. Well, in that case, I guess I am headed to the place. I should also do that.
I feel so bad for the person you're taking to the Reach. They've been on board for so long. You even went back to the home office where they came from.
We'll get there,
It's
don't
like,
worry.
Where are we going? You're not bringing me back here, are you? No, we're just dropping off some stuff. Okay. Why'd you already pick me up then? We have no idea what we're doing, that's why.
I mean, at least now you don't have to pretend you're dead.
Yeah. I just hope conditions are better than steerage.
I mean, even if they're not, they can at least, like, be alive.
Because I imagine the enormous dog is interesting company, periodically.
Oh, yeah. Okay, then.
How
Let's...
averse are you to surprising quantities of slaughter?
Let's... And they're like, what?
Dog. Big dog. Friendly. Big dog. So our first officer might be a devil. It's fine. I think it's fine. Captain says it's fine.
And he overhears and he's like, what do you mean might be?
Might be.
Ha! I see what you did there. Hello, grave robber.
Hydrate comes in the little glass vial.
Little glass vial?
Little glass vial.
Ow! Ow!
Yeah, careful, that one hurts. Oh,
Yeah.
That's what it's like to have a big gun.
There. Jeez. Yeah, repair me. Almost a full.
What you got out of that was some experience.
Yeah. That's fine. All my terror is about to be gone.
That doesn't sound pretentious. Isn't there what kind of a character who didn't need pretension?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think she's one of the muses in Girl Genius.
I was about to guess Girl Genius, just because that sounds like...
It sounds familiar.
Yeah,
Pardon?
Folio.
Where's your
Her...
Hee hee! Marge. I didn't get you in that verse. A while beyond, I took a dump for thee.
I've no consort but thee.
Oh, okay, big difference.
Yes.
Ooh, the sky would be the ultimate aerial dawn.
Daniel.
Someone just sticks their arse out the window of the train. Ariel,
Daniel. Please.
The crew then hucks him out of the airlock for being an idiot. -1 crew.
Yeah.
Another one lost.
Honestly, you're better off without that one.
Probably. Lost 5 terror. Crew's better off without Pete the Pooper.
Pete the Poopsmith. The engraved mourner has invited you to a feast of all his favorites. You are a motley bunch. You make polite conversation with a deacon and a prospector. The food is unusual. You would never have paired? Wrong paired.
Oh, you would never have paired olives with cantankerous. Yeah, as in, like, process with paring knife.
Oh. I would have... I was interpreting that as you would never have paired olives with cantankerous, as in pairing them.
It can actually go either way.
In
either,
which
like,
case...
you wouldn't have this dish or a typo.
Yeah. The engraved mourner watches on, a beatific smile on his sculpted face as he listens to your conversation. A new bargain may now sometimes be found at the mausoleum.
Hominem te es momento?
What?
Top.
Oh. Homonym te esse memento.
Man, something remember. Or something like that per person.
Homonym te esse memento.
I say it might be yeet, maybe?
No, esse is like to be.
Okay. Oh yeah, Essen's German. Derp.
I don't remember enough of my Latin. Like, I kind of get what all the words mean. I'm just having trouble putting them together in a way that makes sense.
Like, I know memento mori and ad hominem, so like person something remember.
Person you to be, I remember.
It might be dog Latin.
Yeah.
Which makes sense for
True.
anyone.
Also, memento might not be I remember. That could be like a participle or gerundive case.
The Serena Holding.
What happened to the mouse?
The Allies captured it. Oh yeah, have you seen like the cat Fuhrer stuff in Stellaris Giga Structures?
I don't think so, no.
Yeah, you like this guy. It's like a combination of Napoleon and Kaiser Wilhelm, pretty much. Or maybe the other German guy with the Iron Cross. What's his name?
Bismarck?
Yeah, Bismarck. Autobahn Bismarck meets Napoleon.
Autobahn.
Autobahn Bismarck.
There we go. Oh, it's... no, I do remember this one.
It actually gets into that time.
Yep. Well, that's fine.
But, there's a guy like that. They become very militarist and start trying to. They basically.
Ooh, yes, please.
Start conquering New York. Galaxy become a problem. And their ships. Their freaking ships.
Huh.
Space bombers, splinter sea boats, and when he attacks you, his fleet absolutely contains what are definitely space tanks. Like big, like mouse, but in space. It just says
Spancers.
they each have one huge cannon, and that's what they got. But again, it's really hard. And the bombers are absolutely loaded with ordnance, as you'd expect. They can have like a lot of missile slots more than you should. And you can buy ships from them. Just like the way to handle them is to like maintain his favor, preferably before he launches War of the Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, undermining him on his world because he's got like this stupid piece of Wunderwaffe. It's like basically a battle mode. There's not really a thing in Mega Structures, but this is special. And by helping out various factions and having sabotage things, you can sabotage different parts of it, making it make enough for you to defeat with your fleet. Otherwise, it'll take yours.
The fleet with your feet.
Largely because it's got, well, it has extremely heavy armor. You can basically barely scratch it. Really heavy armor, huge amount. Unless you're bad or something.
I would never hit them.
You've hit them unintentionally, I think.
Ooh, one savage secret and two tales of terror. A cabin has been opened to the cold for the better preservation of the dead. The resurrectionists keep their handful of corpses admirably catalogued. The old dangle with the old, the young hang with the young. A neat logbook records their provenance and items collected.
Unsettling jerks, those resurrectionists.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what they're actually doing. To be honest. Why are they selling corpses? They have like eccentric.
Orbits. Sorry.
Okay, I've been watching too much Game Grumps. Do they have eccentric benefactors who, eccentric benefactors / customers who just like really like burying their faces in the butt cheeks of the dead? What?
What?
That's the stupidest possible reason. Also critically unsettling if thought about too long. Unacceptable. Rice Krispies or something?
No, I flew in the wrong direction for those.
Oh yeah, you're Virgin.
So, yeah. So now I'm going to go that way and take Les to Worldberry on the way.
5 pieces of stained ash.
Gross.
That's dreadful.
That is dreadful. Actually, I'll go ahead and take one of those to pop in there
One of those.
while I am there. Do I need anything else? I don't think I do.
Grass stained madness.
Oh, I should take a barrel of ours to stop at Skyhenge. Excuse me.
Are you bringing anything to the? Oh yeah, the one.
Yeah.
Do they have anything else? No, they have the ones.
What?
I was wondering if they had any new armor too, but they don't have new armor.
No.
I got a new opportunity. Right now, we're just interested in opportunities for taking crap to the beach because that's where we're going, dang. Hopefully tonight. Help.
Should be.
Pardon the redundancy, that's it. But sometimes you gotta have redundant statements in case the primary statement fails. Backups. Backups for your backups. Nightmare in space after all. Now space is the place to lose your face. That's what happened to that one girl.
Yeah? Yeah, I did.
That snuffer lady took her face and then her face and switched.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the mid-hit magician played by Nick Cage.
She took her face off.
These are one. Tastes good. Calls itself Glacier Freeze. I don't know what flavor that is, but it tastes good.
Oh, that guy was almost definitely infested.
Oh, that guy was almost definitely some guests.
Yep.
Your signal warning was all like, ahoy! And the reply was like, yes, I am guest. I am no longer infected.
My hovercraft is full of eels. I will not buy this record. It is scratched.
infected sounds like the sort of lie a guest would say. And my hovercraft is full of eels sounds like them being weirdly frank about the situation. While also not really knowing what a train is. And carrying the horrifying implication that they're sentient. Which makes me want to interrogate one and see how they feel about crushing the life out of engines. Like they do.
Okay. Now, refuel, resupply.
Tab still says mouse. Neat, we were order number 42.
Hey, cool. Really, because it's not like I'm flying far, I'm just going to be flying carefully.
I was reminded today of something I completely forgot existed.
What's that?
Remember penny racers?
What?
Penny racers?
Are those the like slot cars?
If they were pimps. If I recall correctly, they were like little toy cars. I think they were usually backup cars. That have like a weird little thing in the back that you were supposed to put like a penny in, which adjusted the weight distribution and made them go better or at least different. Apparently that was a very brief period of time when they existed in the US. And they're known in Japan as Choro Cube. It's kind of like Choro Cube. It's like their equivalent of that. About penny racers in law. I mostly had micro machines.
Oh, hey.
For anyone watching from not the States, toy cars were a big thing in the 80s and 90s here in the US.
Mouse? Come on, really?
Sounds like the mouse is out juice too.
Well, I already swapped the battery in it.
Oh.
Because, like, both of these were blinking out at the same time.
Check the sensor for Rainier.
I mean, I don't think that would be it, though, because like I just said, when the keyboard became unresponsive, the mouse was also became unresponsive. like they were both blinking out simultaneously.
The mouse was also become unresponsive.
Yes.
Destroyer of worlds.
Ooh.
Ding!
What? You lean your head against the cold rock and murmur a tale of adventure to a hollow in the stone. It doesn't take long. You pull back from the menhir. The air hangs still. Someone swears. A stranger staggers toward you from between two stones. Their clothes are outdated, the fashion several years old. They head towards you, but you are not the captain they expected. The new arrival is eager to board your locomotive. They'll take any role just to get away. Crew has not increased. This quality cannot currently increase past 14. Interesting.
Whoa. Weird.
Well, now I know what that does.
Or what it sometimes does. What if it does other things sometimes?
Weird.
Stuff inside the ring of still.
And yes, gift a barrel of hours to the beings that live between seconds.
2 casted gemstones. Delicious!
Mm-hmm. This time a torrent of them into your arms. It turns back to the altar. You are forgotten.
Reach boneless limbs, dusty tentacles, into the geodes inside. Keening goes up from jail. Their black eyes fix on you balefully before turning away. Oops, should have brought more. Oh, well, it's fine. The snow's not falling. Frozen in place.
Return to the engine.
As you step into the snow, the beings are waiting for you. They press against you, your crew escorting you to the altar. They're fairly close, they're down south, their strength is pointedly restrained. They escorted you out. Okay, thanks, but bye.
Hey.
A wobbly wongus! Now Dante from the Devil May Cry series.
Not yet. 85, not yet. %. There we go.
Aha! And Knuckles.
Ow.
Oh, that's the senior Spencer.
Not good. I can't.
Run!
Running.
You don't say. What do you mean you couldn't dodge? You just, you just purged the heat. Like, for a bit you couldn't dodge, but when I said dodge, you dodged. Ah!
Not good.
I'm dealing with you.
What are you shooting at?
That was really nasty.
Yes, it was. Okay, I'm not going to deal with you either. I'm going around.
That was very nearly a sudden game over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got caught in AoE for a moment, and that thing really hurts.
Yeah.
Don't want to deal with Scarlet Spinster and that particular group. They're flying right now.
Helmert.
Don't want to deal with a senior Scribe Spinster unless you're in a ship more easily.
Yeah. Hello, Venus. Locomotive.
Weird. Surprised you can get like an achievement. Tough little train.
Well, it did unlock a facet.
That it did. What did the winds of fate have in store? You got your ass kicked one time. Ow, my ass.
Okay, well, maybe I won't bother with that thing right now.
Gotta take that as important.
Mm-hmm. A poor tent.
It's not very good.
If I happen to come across a one of those pauper's graves and a spinster pops off of it, which sometimes happens, if I come across that on my way out, awesome. But otherwise, I think I'm headed back to the Reach.
Hooray!
Let's see. Grab a barrel of hours for passage back through.
Let's see. Anything you want to bring on?
Caddy of tea for and a second thing of hours to go down to Brabazon. And actually a third one.
Yeah, no items going places that aren't already, or that aren't in your opportunities.
Okay, cool. At least not that I...
Key items.
Yeah, not that I won't hit New Winchester 4 first.
Yeah, like there's literature going somewhere, but it's all the way south. So
Yeah.
you'll hit New Winchester first.
Right.
That's weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Fifth City is weird. I'm just kidding. And be people weird to play that for the first time. It was fun. I didn't play 100%. Just got those like twin stones I'm missing. Station time, mix an inch and you're behind. Butterscotcha! Butterscotcha! What's our man dummy? Yeah, scrape yourself real good. You crazy as a little too much, Ivan.
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
Sky Story and 39.
And he left some
Severance.
cash.
It's the Knots and Crosses story again.
Are you winning, Captain? White Law's coffee house.
Laidlaw.
White Law. Oh, that trump factory stopped working. Endless.
Gross.
Disgusting. Nursery's 12. Children? Plants? Both? Horrifying plant children?
I don't need nightmares right now. Yeah, jettison some supplies. I can do that.
Yeah, big bed's nearby. I'll grab a little bit there.
It's out of the way, though.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
I thought I saw that. There's a weird moss growing. You guys is breeding, right?
are you being like this?
Mouse, please. Ding.
No spec for mirrors, too. Why is that so hard? A. Terror has fallen.
Told you, ding. I said ding, I went ding.
Yeah?
Ding.
Keepers with an Overseer. 2 Sky Stories. Please. Ministry stamped permits. The committee sits in a requisition stockroom just off the bit between. It is cramped, forcing the members to rotate who attends. Work worlders and overseers sit in equal balance. Compared to how things were before, are you happy? You're honestly asking me that? Whether I'm happy? Of course I'm not. But this isn't about me, is it? Before I go there.
I mean, if any of these people have homes to go back to,
yeah,
a certain captain would be happy to give a ride.
Yeah, there are an awful lot of them, though. I wouldn't be able to give all of them a ride.
Oh, yeah, it'd be a nightmare of witness, but you could take a few at a time wherever there.
Yeah.
What would happen if Brabazon started to depopulate?
Well, that's all I've really got to do down here, so that's fine. Return to the bit between and your locomotive.
Meow. also weird sound effects from something I was watching, but it really sounds like a distant cat.
Since I have room, might as well. Make sure there was nothing else here for me to do. I don't think there was. Nope. Okay. Off to... oh, wait. First, respect for mirrors again. And then off to the gate. Back to the reach.
I wonder how the Winchester was
Yeah. We know the status changed somehow a week or two ago. It's also been a little while since we saw any Tacadies here in Albion.
Yeah, it doesn't really tacky, sounds clearly yes.
No, there were some actual, like, Tacadies here.
Henry, you really guessed.
Some of them were. Proceed yourself to customs. I do declare.
I don't know why all this ammunition doesn't count as contraband, considering there's a war zone on the other side, but
Yeah.
I do. What is a boy to do? Eggs. Speed it up. Ah, I got 2 bear stoppers.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad I had two.
Indeed.
Mouse. Why?
My mouse is gonna squeak. Please. The batteries you put in it, how charged were they at one?
They were fresh out of the charger.
How long had it been since the charger had charged them?
I don't know.
Because I know sometimes if you like disconnect and reconnect, it absolutely starts charging again.
Yeah.
Like it measured a second time. Rechargeables do like the self-discharge.
Yeah.
Does your mouse like have any signal it puts out when someone just like a blinky light or?
Not really, no. I don't think so.
Yeah, they all use infrared these days, so you can't really tell from the light if you. Oh, I don't know. Is that infrared or red?
Pretty sure it's infrared.
It's infrared. A couple of reasons for that. Infrared diodes use significantly less juice than visible ones.
Yeah.
Lower the frequency. UV diodes, they're still like 1.2 volts or something.
Oh.
Classic reds, 0.7. Engine crescent.
Oh, my knee. sure I remember this song. Let's see. Ah, yes. For the horological office, it's mirrors that I need to be spec'd for. Okay, good. I'm already spec'd for mirrors.
Mob was gathered outside the microwave company protesting unpaid wages for last week. The company's representative assures them that officially last week never happened. Yes, well, they still did a week's of work, and he still owed them the money, you jerks.
Yeah. Your horological office pocket watch affords you access to the port's primary clock, and from which others in the area get their time. You unpack your tools to begin. Assorted screwdrivers, brushes, pliers, tweezers, a small bottle of oil, a jeweler's loop. 74% chance of success.
Ding. Woohoo!
Adjusting the clock back to Albion Standard Time proves the Windward Company's case. The mob is forced to admit that their hard work was merely an interesting statistical anomaly and disperses, grumbling, to talk of revolutions, walls, and who should be first against the latter once the former begins. Your name comes up more than once in this discussion.
Yikes.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like your work doesn't prove the company's case. Exactly.
I feel like it shouldn't.
Like, even if last week technically didn't happen due to timekeeping shenanigans, the work was still done and the money is still owed.
Yes.
These people still had to buy and eat, and to eat and purchase a week's worth of meals.
Mm-hmm.
I feel bad for the accountants who have to figure out how to make it work out, but they deserve that week's worth of wages. Statistical anomaly or no.
Sure. Lustrum.
Ah! What the?
You okay?
What just happened? I bumped a Balatingus and it wound up. Ah, jeez, it did thing.
A thing.
Someone to. Okay. Now, our first ports of call are probably Magdalene and Carol.
Okay, so hold on a second. This time, the keyboard is still responding while the mouse isn't, so it probably is the battery.
Well, I'm Hammond, everyone. We are placing power cells. Right.
Let's see if this one does better. It blinked when I inserted it.
Cargo gadget double A.
Alright.
Seems functional.
Yes. Alright, let's make for Lustrum. Then can double back to Carolon.
Actually, how far out of the way is this?
It's not that far out of the way. Like, Carolon is right here, Lustrum is right over here.
Okay, Magdalene's is...
Magdalene's is over here.
Go to Lustrum first or Magdalene's first?
Well, they want me to get to Lustrum fast,
Oh, of course.
so... Normally, my route would be Carolon to Magdalene's.
Well, if they really want fast, we can get them fast.
This is true.
Take out an extra part, an extra can of gas, and use the boost system.
Yep. Around this corner. Daniel.
What?
Oh, come on.
That wasn't even...
That was really dumb.
What? It all reference things that the drain has. And you're trying to make good time. Holstein, cannonade, round the corner, activate. There's some cool things in this.
There is some barred line.
You probably could catch it as you whip through, but eh.
No, you can't stop and investigate things when you're in
Look
boost
out,
mode.
Kizzy! Greedy! You little...
Come on. What?
It did a splat.
It did do a splat, and I wasn't able to do anything.
See, that was much dumber than anything I said. I said something silly. What just happened there was really dumb. I love how it zooms out a bunch so you can better not crash into things. But by doing so, it doesn't make you look like you're going that fast. Like, it doesn't feel fast until you turn it off and it zooms back in.
The clam fields.
Oh yes, we can engage in stories with the Blue Oyster.
Meh.
The cultists of the Blue Oyster, I should have said it. See, so I lost you.
something dark side. The riotous, ramshackle port of Lustrum now hosts a fragile political enterprise. The independent settlers' nascent government, the Colonial Assembly, has been driven from New Winchester and retreated here to a hastily erected complex of cabins on the mountain slope. Learn more. It's all the prospectors want to talk about. Please, mouse. Please. The Tacadies are struggling. The Windward Company, whose dreadnoughts on loan from London prowl the Reach, have them outgunned. The New Winchester was no longer safe. Here, at the very edge of the Reach, the Assembly hopes to mount a resistance. If you have business with the Tacadies, you'll need to conduct it here. This change in the balance of power will affect encounters, discoveries, bargains, and prospects in the Reach. For example, the Tacadies' retreat means fewer independent miners to compete with, and so more hour-laden sky rocks for you to claim.
Oh yeah, shows you like where.
Yeah.
Hey, report.
Yeah, drop off settler. Here we go. Lustrum sings its own song. The mines ring, the caverns howl, the machines roar. The settler apologizes for not shaking your hand. You understand. You're well aware that his condition hasn't improved, what with the nightly retching and the coughing incident in the mess the other day. He smiles weakly and departs.
Okay. Took someone to Lustrum.
Yep. The mountain sings. Join the celebration. Your terror has fallen.
Junkily. That was a terrible effort.
Explore Lustrum, write port report.
So much for the Quiet Retirement Village that used to be here.
Yep.
Oh yeah, we've seen that before.
Mm-hmm.
Just your previous captain had a claim.
Yep.
Not that matters, you got hours for days. Wait.
Ha!
I think you do it for around 20.
Oof. 10 sovereigns.
Their fortunes didn't go down much. The stovepipes just went up a lot.
Yeah.
74. Sweet Jane commands the war effort now.
Sweet Jane commands the war effort now from her wintry counting house. The indolent veteran leads you to her office. Don't upset her, she warns. She's the best hope we have now, despite all else. Inside, Sweet Jane is huddled by her fire. A great board is laid out on the desk, smothered in cards. Luck and bluffing are the only strategies of any use now, she says by way of explanation. Sweet Jane invites you to sit. You discuss distant ports and the patterns in recent events. We shall have victory, she says after an hour. I'll be damned before we surrender to the company.
69. Nice. Yep. Steamed. To the company, you're loathed.
Mm-hmm.
attack you. If it does, that'll probably change the balance of power in the reach from you shooting them down in self-defense.
This is true. $99. They like me. Yeah, what else can I do? Is that it? Okay.
Just bring your poor reports here.
Yep.
Poor report. You have a very poor report around here. Except not anything, all that. Yeah, visiting the winter company is. Someone chases you away with a gun. You hear them yell, "I'm gonna shoot you!" What's up, Mr. Pennies?
He doesn't have anything else to trade powers for. Could you see if there's any advice online for finding a good claim? Like if there are any tricks to recognizing a good spot? So that, like, the next time I stop by Lustrum.
The mountains beckon is a longer questline to avoid you seeing your name. Attempting to climb the mountain costs 2 supplies. It's a pretty hard iron check, but you can just keep trying until you make it, suffering 5 tear each time you fail. Bigger shard. Show someone the bigger shard of golden tea shop. Bring bronzewood nations and stained glass. Climb the mountain again. Explore the same king again. Go see your name. Neat. Didn't know that was the thing you did. Nothing related to what we're looking at though. Prospector sandwich. Investigate the soup.
Okay, well, I'm finding that the listening to the gossip is telling me it's like, don't dig in the mud right outside of town. Look for young trees, not a bunch of trees, enough trees and scrub to break the ice. That's the sign of a proper vein.
Drop off a sandwich. Explore Lustrum. Seek a claim of your triggers event a potential claim on the mountain. Hangman Pub. Listen to gossip about the geodes. Listen to gossip about the mountain.
Okay.
Mining.
The geodes are cold. A layer of thick ice under the snow is considered a sign of a good claim. Okay.
Gossip about recent troubles, wayward bastards.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Mr. Penny, speak of warrior prospector. Quality of claim is 3 if you go with him, it looks like.
Yep. It says it will grant a claim that can at best be described as adequate. You may have better or worse luck seeking a claim of your own. But now that I know those things, I'm going to seek a claim of my own.
Potential claim on the mountain. There are unforeseen complications.
Treacherous, mostly unclaimed edges of the mountain. Occasionally he stops to sniff or to drag a foot through the snow and mud in what looks like a line. Finally he seems satisfied. He shoots you a mostly toothless grin as he lights a cigarette. Reckon this has your name all over it. What you think? This terrain is rocky. Occasional scrub pokes through the snow, a heather-like substance known to be highly toxic and irritating to the skin. The snow is soft and fluffy. There are no signs of other miners this far from town. There's scrub, but no, there's... I want young trees.
Also, you don't want soft and fluffy snow.
Well, the snow isn't bad. It's that I want ice under the snow.
Yeah.
Conditions are harsh. The mountain seems to fight your every step. Ropes left behind by other prospectors coil around your ankles. Old boxes of supplies loiter under the snow, ready to trip you. It's almost impossible to tell the difference between one patch of land and another, never mind the value of individual claims. What you need is an hour harker, advises a passing hour harker. He grins. He doesn't have many teeth, but those that remain are capped with gold. Come find me in town if you want. Or not. There's always more of you showing up, eh?
Variable interaction description.
Your feet slip regularly on this terrain, a treacherous layer of hard mud and frozen ice beneath the fluffy cotton-like snow. Not much grows here, so far from Lustrum Town. Nebula gases shine soft purple and yellow overhead. Okay, so that's 2 good points.
Yeah, your previous one with the irritating heather was quality 4. This is 6.
Oh.
Of max 8. The best is inhospitable, ice under snow and hard ground. Few small trees grow in and around your claim. Potentially useful for cutting tools and firewood. Purple light stands like some kind of wisps. Though it's impossible to tell whether they're alive or actually effects of nebula gases.
You know, I'll take a 6. I'll take a 6.
7 is the terrain is inhospitable. Ice under snow and hard ground. A few small trees grow in and around your claim. Potentially useful for cutting tools and firewood. So the combination of ice, small trees, and purple wisps is the best, it seems.
Yep.
Purple wisps.
Right, pleasure doing business with you. Accept the Hour Harker's recommendation and plant your flag. You do not actually own this part of the mountain, you merely have the right to exploit it. It is time to get started.
You purchased the mineral rights.
Yup. Alright, assign 5 crew.
Sorry guys, you live here now.
I'll be back to Lustrum much more often than I used to be, now that the Tackities have,
Sure, this is where you're driving out from reports.
yeah. And start mining.
Hajime.
Hajime yo.
Remember when I was in karate, they pronounced it Hashime. That might be an Okinawa thing.
Could be.
Verdant seeds.
I mean, sure, why not?
They're green.
And 1 extra fuel. And now back to Carolyn.
Back to curling.
Curling iron?
Kingaling. Kingaler. Orangling. Kringus.
Kringus. No longer have to go fast, so I can conserve fuel.
Spooky devil house of soul repair. With capitalism. Just make weird.
Oh, there's one of the...
He's attacking these big boys.
Yep.
Based after the horrifying mushroom plots. I assume they use many shotguns.
I know they have, like, lateral flamethrowers.
That's cool.
Yeah, it really is.
And here's one now. Dang.
There we go.
Moment of inspiration. Delicious.
I think I'll wait and see how this plays out. We'll watch this conflict and salvage. I am glad I was as far away as I was.
Wasted a special. Liberator there. Learning members.
Leaning pillars.
A neural network. A learning pillar.
Okay, well,
What's going on down there?
they're probably going to be fighting for a bit. Maybe I won't wait.
The Sullivan sandwich.
Oh, I hear one of those fungus things.
Oh no.
Read the ledger. 2 sky stories.
Fungus a chungus.
Leave.
Yeah, you can well.
I can't go through the side bits.
Yeah,
That was-
transfers.
Yeah, I was needing to go this way. Am I getting closer to the thing?
No.
Nope. Okay. Well, that's fine.
You sure he's freaking out about something? We'll let it do that.
Yeah.
Jeez. Gosh, it's straight for goodness. Guess the illness is all mine.
Should fit right in here.
Much. Okay. This is Bonk.
Oops. Wrong button.
Which little bonk.
Really?
Ooh, that's all about.
Yeah, I did.
Probably cracked one of your hard points. Alright, Caroline.
Write a port report. Alright, deliver the half glass empty. When you explain the empty's predicament, your rescued prisoner attracts a swarm of attention. The presiding deviless descends to meet your rescued prisoner. She taps his glass eye with a fingernail. A sun-touched soul, she muses, an eager flash of tongue at her lips. Yes, we can take good care of him. The devils will care for him now. 2 attendants we allow to bed and gently help the empty climb in.
I think that's a good way to lose humanity.
Your last words with the empty are awkward and brief. He was never much of a conversationalist. He thanks you, and he seems happy to leave it at that. When you return to your train, you find a nervous young man waiting outside with a barrel of souls. The devil has told me to deliver these to you, he says. Said it was a fair trade for such a patient. 2 selections of immaculate souls.
I'm sure he'll be fine. I guess the healing process is just going to be harrowing, and he's not looking forward to it.
Yeah. Alright, and attend a candlelit soiree with the inconvenient aunt. She insisted that it will do you good. Come on, she says, a fierce gleam behind her spectacles. Your aunt, chattering constantly, guides you through the ash-gray stone chambers of Carillon. Eventually, you reach a little door in one of the less-traveled backways. Your aunt knocks thrice. The door swings open. A severe, scarred old woman peers out. "Bunty!" your aunt cries happily. After a brief introduction, Bunty ushers you inside. You emerge into a room with a high mirrored ceiling. Its dark-paneled walls are illuminated by dripping crimson candles. Revolutionaries consort with ministry auditors. Devils drink with bright-eyed ministers of the new sequence. A famous Tackety general is highly occupied with a distinguished admiral. What has she brought you to? Mingle. It's a party. Besides, your aunt can look after herself. You introduce yourself to very many personages, some great and good, most borderline criminal. Everyone seems to believe you already know the rules, so you learn a number of surprising things about the information networks of the High Wilderness. Most crucially, the extent to which their frequent contact breeds certain mutual understandings. Suddenly you hear the familiar crunch of boiled sweets at your ear. Your aunt has returned. Her expression is aghast. "Let's get out of here. I've learned something about a rendezvous at St. Dunstan's." She refuses to say more here.
Did he check in? You have 101 tales of terror. One for each Dalmatian. Now, what do you have to do to deal with the Abstemious Devil again?
The Abstemious Devil? You have not yet accepted his commission, and I do not have affiliation establishment 5.
Ah. Of course, it's most faintly of Brimstone. He's a freaking devil. Sure if you have need of any penances. Oh, apparently you have a stain on your soul. From something.
The path runs around the side of Carillon to an area that cannot be seen at all from the center. It's a narrow and unassuming path, almost overgrown, and the ground underfoot is soft earth. Who has come here before you? The footprints of men and women and devils and goats are printed in the soil, and there, unspoiled by the other tracks, a highly arched footprint with 3 toes. How often asleep have you remembered this creature, and how often have you forgotten it waking up? By the fence there is a composting pile. Thousands of worms are reducing to mulch a heap of unacceptable book matter. Most of the books were confiscated from the penitents. Now and then the compost catches fire and a supervising devil has to put it out, but this fertilizer explains the aggression of the plants that grow here. Those who cross boundaries too often are taught here that those limits have meaning. Approach the hellish penitent. At the center of the garden is a picnic banquet. There is too much frosting on all of the cakes, too much oil in the salads, but several of the penitents sit glumly eating, with only their own clothes for napkins. The deviless sits among them, eating treacle from a jar. Ask what she's doing here. She's paying a price on her own behalf. Supposedly, says the deviless between bites, the souls of devils are incapable of being refined. You make some adjustments, improve here and there, and then a death or two later and all the work is gone. But I'm determined. If humans can be improved, so can I.
A death or two. to do the penance with the insatiable roses.
Mm-hmm. Your companions are a lady in a buttoned cloak and a young male student. They talk among themselves about the seasonable warmth and about how the yellowish glow of the lamps does not show blue silk to best effect. Their words are commonplace, their hands folded and gloved, their opinions supplied by a respectable gazette. You have almost forgotten them even while you are still walking together. The path descends by shallow steps to a broad terrace, as crowded as an imperial exhibition. Yeah, I caught it too.
The dress is poorly lit.
Mm-hmm. Gain a penance of enlightenment. Vision, imagination, the ability to see beyond the nearest convention. That's what the devils are trying to evoke here. A clerk used to pray to several gods, but without believing in any of them. For the penitent's own good, he is receiving a tattoo of Empyrean sigils. Do you feel any more interesting now? Asks the supervising devil. As for your punishment, it does not bear speaking of. The experience leaves your throat parched.
Yeah, I didn't know you'd acquired lightness.
Mm-mm. Perhaps you have fallen into habits. Perhaps you haven't stretched your imagination lately. There are still a few flaws in your soul, but matters are improving. Cool. Gained 1 vision of the heavens and 4 salon-stewed gossip. And 500 XP.
Delicious.
And why not? That didn't cost me anything. Materially, at least. The proprietress of a tea shop used to favor sweet wines and carob candies. For the penitent's own good, she has been dressed in the historical armor of the Third City. The supervising devil watches and takes notes. As for your punishment, it does not bear speaking of. For a month afterward, you see devils dancing in the corners of your eyes. Approach the spineless curate. He sits in stocks, attended by a devilish orderly. At the nearest station, a curate has been shackled into an ordinary pillory. His eyes beseech you to visit him. I've seen something. In this light, it's hard not to see things. A devilish orderly jabs the curate with a needle. At the sight of the jab, the curate's skin goes lavender. I'm being treated for not believing in God. I've tried everything. Prayer, fasting, long weekends with a professional saint. None of it worked. My sermons were suffering. My bishop complained. And has it helped? I have dreams of snakes and angels, he says. It hasn't made me a mystic. I don't think the devils are real either. Just men with funny eyes, aren't they? The devilish orderly smiles, with extra teeth.
They're more like bees from space that used to work for the stars. I realize how incredibly weird that sounds. And is. You can help him by collecting pen. Ah, yes. The fact that capitalism has any sway here indicates to me that the devils can just like cure someone anytime they want to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure anyone who's figured it out doesn't want to let on that they know. Out of fear.
checkerboard garden. It is reached by a flight of wrong-sized steps, the risers too steep and the flats too narrow.
Annoying.
But by the time you come out onto the plane of the checkerboard, your calves are hurting.
They move plaintively.
The devils are playing tricolor chess with some of the penitents. White pieces, red pieces, pieces the color of a flourishing wind. Around the edges of the board sit the patients who have already been captured. Yeah, that does say patients. Or who were never part of the game to begin with. Those who name drop, who aim too high, who spend too much time in low company, who do not know their place. They wind up here. The Red King signed letters with an honorific reserved for non-mortal persons. For the penitent's own good, he has a locked tongue to prevent so much as speaking the name of a superior. The supervising devil is distracted by the play on the chessboard. As for your punishment, it does not bear speaking of. For a month afterward, you see devils dancing in the corners of your eyes. Consider the Rubbery Man. He stands at the edge of the board, ignored by the players.
He's here for rubbery crimes.
No one has dressed him for the chess game, or let him enter the board. Ask the Rubbery Man about the devil with the rose-colored gloves, and then hope you can understand the answer. The Rubbery Man holds up one tentacle, representing the devil with the rose-colored gloves. Then he holds up another tentacle. After a moment, he twists the two together. Are the tentacles meant to be kissing? Is that what that is? When you look blank, the Rubbery Man repeats the pantomime several times. Perhaps the devil has a lover. Perhaps the devil loves the Rubbery Man. Perhaps the devil enjoys exotic forms of dance. Elevation of a Rubbery Man. What would such a person need? Perhaps understanding cut with ambition. Enlightenment for a start. Conversation for a chaser. He could convert. Yes, thank you. Conversion for a chaser. He consumes both. Tentacles are involved, and the twitching of excessively mobile... Would one call those lips? But then, what a transformation! His features smooth and flatten. His tentacles retract. From a distance, one might take him for a human gentleman with an especially prominent brow. He assesses you. Then, no thanks, no comment, not even the wave of a tentacle. What an ingrate! He takes up someone's freshly discarded crozier. As a bishop, he joins the game in play.
Cool.
Failure.
When did you get curdled?
I haven't been curdled, that's why it's red.
Oh, okay. Ding. Dancing.
Okay, back to
He
here.
checks someone and thing happens. Whee.
A corset maker used to sleep all afternoon and pretend it was due to headache. Until she overcomes these flaws, she is having a sixth finger grafted to the left hand. The supervising devil watches and takes notes. I mean, if that sixth finger works, that could be useful.
Six Finger. The silly toy from the 50s.
Here we go, pay the curate's price. His penance can be paid by someone other than himself. That's better, he says, rolling his sleeve to cover the place where the needle went in. I have a warning for you. Meet me in the Bell Garden. It's harder for them to overhear us there. Don't follow me right away. Wouldn't do for them to see us together. Then he strolls off. Is that all? Is that what he calls gratitude? If you've been duped completely, it remains to be seen whether he will be in the Bell Garden after all.
Mm. 23 souls for the princess. Take to Caroline.
A professional chaperone dislikes physical labor, mental exertion, social activity, and any other occupation that might cause anxiety. As punishment, she has been given a viper in a velvet sack and told to keep it from squirming. The supervising devil watches and takes notes. You brush past a matron in gray boots, a train conductor in his uniform, and a young boy who has already adopted an expression of fixed ennui. None of them notices you passing by. None shows any interest in your breaking this convention.
There's a wall. Oh yeah, the low stone barrier you just step over.
There's no real gate, but not much of a wall either. There's only a low stone barrier, perhaps a foot tall, easy to step over. The thorn bushes grow thorns an inch or more long. There are paths between them, but it is hard to pass by without tearing one's clothes. The devils who work here have scratches on their forearms, though they do not seem to mind. There's not a single comfortable place to sit.
Oh, do you have cold? Can't tell.
Yep.
Yes.
I have 2 penances. Approach the professional penitent. She is seated on a stool eating vast quantities of sorbet.
So much sorbet.
She collects penance for other people. It's a slow process, but the quality is better than the indulgence penance one may buy from the presiding deviless. The penitent is seated on a stool, eating from an enormous barrel of violet sorbet.
You saw the end, didn't you?
What?
An enormous barrel of violet sorbet.
No.
Oh, okay.
There is enough to supply a carnival. The penitent's lips are blue, her fingers are sticky, there are purple smears on her frock. Wasps are taking an interest in the side of her face. When you come over, she puts down her spoon long enough to greet you. I'm here on behalf of a viscountess who doesn't love her children. She's waiting back in London for me to deliver her penance. Pointedly, the supervising devil sets another long-handled spoon at her elbow. Ask about the devil with...
The rose-colored gloves.
Oh, yes. She smiles reminiscently when you describe the devil in question. I know him, she says. I've been coming here a long time in my line of work. He used to be very highly placed, you know, and then the presiding deviless caught him pinching supplies from the storehouse and gave him a demotion. Now he performs a few of the lesser punishments, some lightweight pitchforking, a little work with the hot poker, but his heart isn't in it. Devils don't stick long at anything. Okay, so a deprivation and an ordeal.
Ordeal is iron-based.
Yep. So... iron... Yeah, just the first officer is the only shift I can make there. And that is not a great chance. I might want to come back for that later.
It's just a 60 one. You can get like a shot.
Oh, cool.
Ding.
A lady substitutes in scandalous words whenever reading poetry. The devils disapprove. To repair these defects, she is having tea with a supervising devil and a penitent from the terrace of glass statues. None of them appears to be enjoying the experience, least of all the devil. The supervising deviless makes notes. As for your punishment... Okay, same thing.
Dancing in the moonlight.
Indifference to love can be corrected, but not easily. Feeling creeps back, slowly at first. Your soul is nearly in good condition now. They would describe yours as tantalizingly opaque and rich with personality.
Neat.
Failure.
Yeah, 64% chance is a 64% chance.
Yeah.
You don't get through it.
A lady emptied a chamber pot over a bridal procession. As punishment, she is being forced to copy out the obituaries of departed wives and beloved husbands.
Woo.
Well, doesn't matter too much that my terror is creeping up with each failure, because my next stop is Magdalene's. There we go.
There we go. You cannot laugh afterward.
A gentleman pretends to feel other people's pain, but only to lull them into a sense of security. Until the penitent recovers from this inclination, he has been locked alone in an icy cage, but seems not to mind as much as the devils might have hoped. Try to allow yourself to feel some emotion, prompts the supervising deviless. Okay, and then it was deprivation. You put your foot on the first step and a devil blocks you. Those who enter the bell garden must be in a proper state of hygiene, comrade, he says. Wouldn't want to make things worse for the poor sufferers. He washes his hands in the fountain. Stopping you must have been grubby work. You have been turned away for impurity.
Okay.
Unclean. Unclean.
Guess you're stinky. Oh, there we go. Perform ritual purification. Ministrations and prayers.
First, remove your shoes. Wash your face from the fountain of fresh water and your feet in the basin of salt water. Walk across a patch of white sand, throwing a pebble over your left shoulder to baffle any ill-omened thing that might be following you. Then sleep in a hammock on a private balcony where only other patients may enter. When you wake up, eat a plain white bread with a salt crust. After all this, you will be ready. The stairs lead up to the highest and coldest point in Carillon. The bells ring louder as you climb. The music is mathematical and exact. Each note sounds for exactly the same length of time, the same duration that is required to ascend one step. No one passes anyone else on these stairs. In a tower over the bell garden, 12 devils ring a change of 12 bells. The full peal will take 11,000 days to complete, without intermission. From time to time, one devil relieves another, stepping in during the half-minute when that particular bell is at rest. There are no errors. This mathematical music can be heard everywhere in Carillon, but it is loudest here. Impurity and imprecision are not welcome.
Flex back.
that might not actually work, considering technically the officers is grayed out. It was just already open.
Yeah, you have to like bounce down, I think.
Yeah. But let's see what else is out here. 44%. Oof. She huddles in the corner, her face trapped in a grimace. Actually, let's finish this one first. He's willing to talk to you here under the cover of the constant bell ringing. No one else will hear. This is the best garden, he says. Everything orderly. No one dressed up in pheasant outfits or waltzing backward. But here's what I wanted to tell you. Watch out for the tall devil with the rose-colored gloves. He is embezzling the property. And the curate makes a curious gesture with one hand as though he were winding noodles around a fork. When you look blank, he says, "Spirifage. He's taking souls from the patients in secret before the presiding deviless has a chance at them. I'm afraid he's going to get at me before I finished my term here."
Mm-hmm.
Attempt to communicate with her. She has been within the sound of the bells for 40 days. The clangor is starting to disrupt her mind. She begs you will help her, and out of your kindness pay part of her penance for her. She would do the same for you. She is a very kind and forgiving soul. To convince you of this point, she scribbles down assurances, compliments, and a sketch of herself ministering to a leprous child. Oh, good. That did increase.
Excellent.
Fail. A volunteer doctor was too lazy to bathe. As punishment, she is allowed to sleep in 2-hour stretches twice a day, inside a silk cocoon insulated from the sound of the bells. Dang it.
A goat farmer considered tiger as an acceptable dinner meat. That's the correct way you must go about water, tea, or beer.
Okay, well,
Flip the coin one more time.
alright. A surgeon of dentistry was known to eat insects and worms in a spirit of curiosity. As punishment, he breathes only through a fine mesh that keeps out both scent and smoke. The stairs down are more terrifying than the stairs up. 12 changes of 12 bells before you reach the bottom again. No one else is on this staircase. The penitents look up curiously when you arrive back at the center of Carillon. Okay. So yeah, turn in the Spirifer. You lay out what you know. The rose-gloved devil has been stealing souls for himself, and not making proper contracts for them either. Spiriphage, she says. And I warned him. After a moment, her attention returns to you. He had a very different soul when we first met. This is the trouble with friendship among devils. Come back in 5 years' time, and who knows? You may find me engaged in a smuggling operation of my own. Huh. Okay. Offer to take him on board my engine. Or, could learn some stuff. That would be good too.
You also could have blackmailed him. Ooh, staring enigma.
Oh, nice.
And a lot of experience.
She takes out a bottled soul and sets it on her desk. When I got this, it was blazing white in its bottle, supposedly from a poet saint, and now look, rusty pipe water. Devil souls change on their own. Then she adds, not like yours. You knew you shouldn't ask.
Casting out the spirit.
The presiding deviless is haranguing the Spirifer in her beehive office. It looks as though the interview will not last much longer. He's not allowed to take anything with him. Not a case, not a hat, not even clothing. The presiding deviless makes him strip down in the courtyard to show that he hasn't got any spare souls tucked into his trousers. The penitents have seen plenty of humiliations lately, but generally inflicted on humans. They watch the Spirifer's progress in a spirit of ill-concealed jubilation. Nude and slump-shouldered, he walks to the port. After he is gone, the presiding devilist takes a curious two-pronged fork from her desk and flings it into the fountain. The water seethes. 10 savage secrets.
Alrighty. Savages. And those two aren't human.
Alright.
Is this what your officers make?
Yep. To the place.
Where destiny is made.
Whose name I forget.
Leggings.
Yes, thank you.
I could have said Brett now. Just to get sure.
Well, I would know that was wrong.
I've been watching too many of those stupid dig out there videos. Apparently it's a ChatGPT thing. There's some kind of AI thing. Probably.
Fly past the memorial to the unknown rat. Hello, Remy.
I'm overstimulating our cat.
Alright. Oh, my leg. Keepsake Market. Let's recruit some crew. There we go. 2.
Now then, we are here to for Clebo and the rats.
Yeah. Get Vianne's help for the Rat Brigade. Vianne is stationed in the Scarlet Chambers of Solace. She sighs when she sees the Rat Brigade. I know what you're here for. Vianne indicates that she wishes to speak with her old colleagues in private. They form a huddle, but their vigorous squeaking allows you to gather the gist. Vianne wants a promise that none of the proceeds would be used to finance the recruitment of more rats to the brigade. Cinders agrees to the terms instantly. Vianne pops her head up to address you. I'll show you where to deliver the experiment, and then we can get on. Report. Listen to the will of the people.
I forget, was there something involving the princess that we were doing? Alright, be symbols come first.
You listen with appropriate amounts of care to each person who begs a moment of your time. The majority are local issues, not worth bringing up in Parliament. Occasionally, inspiration strikes for a new law. You promise with a practiced politician's sincerity that even if there is nothing you can do, you will do it to the best of your ability. They seem mollified by that. Request a clay attendant for the clay conductor. The clay conductor wishes to know if they will perform the music of the clay choirs. The attendant cannot hide a small frown. We've not been asked for that in a while. Let me just go and talk to the lads. You're invited to take a seat. The clay conductor is already expecting disappointment. Sometime later, the attendant returns with 3 weathered clay men. Their skin is cracked and craggy. Their eyes are rheumy, clouded as pearl. They launch into song, eerie and low, redolent of drudgery and despair. The clay conductor leaves before they finish. They were clearly attendants in disguise, he tells you scornfully. Even the singing, a thin facsimile like everything here. Okay, now let's see. Let's talk to some people.
Yes.
He was unimpressed by the music at Magdalene's. Should you be looking elsewhere for other candidates suitable for a clay choir? The clay conductor is going through his suitcase. The urn lies on the floor. We used to tour the work worlds together, he tells you. Rarely appreciated, but we got paid. He unearths a sheaf of pages, and we wrote our own music. If I could just find someone capable of the harmonies again. He begins to rifle through the sheets. His lips move with the notes, one large finger chasing the key changes across the pages. He starts as he remembers you are still in his cabin. Forgive me, Captain. His voice is a little thicker than usual. I'm afraid I'm going to take the afternoon off. Chorister nectar. I have that.
Your knowledge of the clay choirs is a little limited.
Yes.
What's the deal now, boy?
The navigator joins you in his cabin. Finally, the words tumble out. I thought I was all right. I just got on with my work and I was doing well. He reaches beneath his bunk to pull out the book the matriarch gave him. Alton read this all the time. He'd act it out, do the voices. It is the epic of King Gessar. Alton knew the true me. He shared his clothes, helped me bind my chest the first time, got me into my first fist fight. The navigator sits up proudly. He was my best friend. When we were children, I made a promise to him. The navigator stares blindly at the book. What did he promise? When we were grown up, we would go exploring together. We'd go on great quests, do mighty things. The navigator takes several breaths before continuing. We'd be heroes. People would write stories about us. I'm exploring the skies, and the navigator turns his face away. He didn't even get to leave home. He wipes his eyes on his sleeve and stands resolute. I'm not going to break my promise. I will give him adventures worthy of King Gessar. Please, Captain, I want to go to Eagle's Empyrean. I'm breaking him out of his tomb, but I'll need your help. You'll need a visa to come with me. The London embassy there will give you one. He frowns. If you've not been to Eleutheria, the relay is near Hybris, in the Reach.
Okay then.
Ooh. What was all that about St. Dunstan's? What got her so shaken up at Carillon? When I was a gal, I used to do a bit of spying for the crown. Now I've been out of the trade for years, but I couldn't help but overhear an intriguing conversation. People rarely pay attention to ladies of my age. She gives you a look as though daring you to disagree. They said revolutionaries helped our government conquer Albion. They mentioned a secret rendezvous at St. Dunstan's between 4 representatives, a new sequencer, a revolutionary, and 2 members of Her Majesty's government. I have to get to the bottom of this. It is my duty. She tilts her chin defiantly. I have a friend at Port Prosper who owes me a favor, and we can get lunch.
Noted.
she's going to Port Avon.
He's heading to Regent's Grave, I believe. Oh no, actually, he's going to New Winchester.
Ah, okay. Is that all the parts of the account number they need? No. Petronella explains the situation while she empties the chambers of Cinder's Derringer for polishing. So that lieutenant what shivved us in the back at a critical juncture in return for a cushy position with the Windward Company, right? Yeah, Sarge gave him a number, too. Didn't know he was a bad 'un. Any road, the lieutenant's got a plum office at Port Prosper. I'm gonna have to get his number and get out, preferably doing him in on the way.
Take Hunt and Rats to Port Prosper.
Hear the end of Sarge's story from Petronella and Albrecht. What happened on that last mission? He's brought wine, she's brought scotch. It would have worked, Albrecht says mournfully, but the lieutenant had taken a contract of his own with the Windward Company. First we knew of it was when the company fired on their own engine. The governor was already well away on another locomotive. Sarge went down first, bellowing for the rest of us to scarper, the daft bastard, Petronella adds. Next thing we know, half of us are dead, and the lieutenant's got a fancy new title with the Windward Company. Alright, so, various developments. Uh-oh. I think Remy is getting ideas.
Small ideas. So I believe we're next to New Winchester.
Remy, don't. Remy!
That was me.
Yup.
Run, kitten. Here. Here. Here.
Of course, she kicked the mouse.
You dummy. Alright. Spin.
Thank you.
What tiny thoughts float around occasionally in that warm head? Thoughts like, meow. Oh, she voices them, but none know what they mean. Likely not even her. New Winchester, Port Avon, Bee Souls, Regent's Grave, back to Carolina, Bee Souls. Port Prosper, and stuff. Perkins mushrooms. What are you doing?
Why are you so twitchy, Remy?
Just because I overstimulated you. Yeah? Is that what happened?
Where's your butt haunted?
Hey. I'm going to recommend you not think about these things. Oh yeah, we do want to get like one thing about.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, lots of bronzewood is... We'll want to stock up on bronzewood while we're here. Oh.
Outbreak of the Fartsus.
Sit with the most afflicted. More of those. I can afford the Moloch.
It's got big gun, 2 more bridge slots, it looks like.
Yeah, I like that.
Same number of auxiliary slots. HP, 5 more hold, 10 for crew.
And is...
And a little less gas efficient.
Yeah, but barely. And it'll still leave me with a good chunk of cash. So let's do it. I thought it would be much later in the game before I could afford this guy. What did I name my current locomotive?
Oh boy. Probably should have checked that earlier.
Yeah. Meow.
Velvet chunks.
No. Meow. The brass ass. I don't know. That's stupid.
Bill's key. Because it's all the brass.
Yep.
You've gone from bronze to brass. So you
Brass
you
up.
replaced tin with zinc. Come back, zinc.
Brass up with your ass up.
Oh yeah.
Remy. Oh, Remy. Hold on a sec, I need something out of my desk.
Is that Remy related?
No.
like she's on the move.
Of course.
An inevitability. Meow.
So indignant. Oh, yes. Meow.
Extra bridge slots.
Yeah.
For putting weird bridge equipment on.
Dig it.
And now you can equip a weird gun.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's good to know. I can equip a,
A small gun and a big slot.
yeah.
Oh man, that 24.
Mm-hmm.
24 hold. Looks good.
Yep.
Hope it handles as well as the previous engine did.
Sweet weenie. Oh, I can't.
Alright, the hearts. The hearts.
Yeah, I don't.
Hearts and farts. You can get another large slot weapon, probably.
Yeah. I wonder if any of them are, like, as nice as what I have, though. Considering, you know.
Possibly nicer because large slot.
I guess.
Let's check.
Sneeze Lurker.
Sneeze Lurker is actually a normal slot. Mine.
Okay, that one's a large. Damage 8.
Sunbeam strikes along the world. Swift rocket that can be detonated at range. 8 blast damage 6. So something range probably AoE. They have other larges. There's the Elton Cavalry.
I think that's all I got.
Nothing south of there?
Nope. That was the bottom of the list. Maybe in London.
Probably in London. Oh, now you have the option.
Yep.
And depending on how cheap it is, you might buy an Overseas Candle just to try it out.
Yeah, not right now. That's like a quarter of what I have left.
Yeah, you're currently a little low on the cookies, so that's not.
Yeah.
But later might be fun.
Sure.
Temporarily swap it out with the shotgun and see how it works.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Remy?
Yeah.
Hey, would you mind giving her a brush? I think that might be part of what she's...
I did.
Oh, you did?
Sort of. She was like spazzing a little bit there. I give her a bit of a rake.
Yeah. I'm thinking maybe being... Because, you know, she'll always, like, walk back and forth. I'm wondering if maybe itchiness isn't Okay, Port Avon wants seeds. I have seeds. And Lustrum wants literature, 5 crates of it.
You shitty little grump.
And I'm pretty sure I have enough books to cover both of those things.
I believe you're taking 6 to Regent's Cave.
5 to Trader's Wood.
Okay.
Unless there was another reason that I was taking more to Trader's Wood.
No, I think that's why I was getting sure of it. You just also have business at Regent's Cave, which is in trade with.
Meow.
Yeah, you're a fluff explosion. You are a fluff explosion. Feeling very soft though now. Yeah.
The beleaguered Tacketies need to build sympathy for their cause. Word has reached you that the whiskered evangelist in Lustrum requires up to 5 crates of ministry-approved literature. No one knows why.
And most of it better not to ask.
Okay, so that's... Yes, Remy?
3 sacks of seeds to Avon. As well as
Over
single
here,
boy
Remy.
to Avon and political poll there. There should be a political poll in New Winchester, and Cautious Driver is going here. Oh yeah, you may want to get your story on before you load up.
Ah, okay. Boop. 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 Boop.
Just keep pressing the cat every now and again.
Well, every time she taps me, I'm tapping her back. Stainrod Mansion is draped in mourning black. The lady of the house stiffly greets her guests, nodding at every whispered word of condolence. The incautious driver's mother greets you both at the gate, her tone chillier than Lustrum frost. The prodigal returns then, somewhat late, but I suppose better late than never. Your father would have been pleased to see the effort. Well, you'd better come in. The funeral party gathers on the main lawn behind the house, sipping wine and eating delicate sandwiches without crusts. They slipped away into the house up to an old playroom. You find the driver in a dusty old playroom. A portrait hangs on the wall showing a young boy and his younger sibling. My older brother and I, the driver confides. We aren't close. He was outdoorsy while I spent most of my time in here. I almost died of a sky sickness as a baby. Took a long time to recover, and I was very frail. Mother and father thought it best I stay indoors. I didn't mind. The world outside sounded terrible, full of monsters and diseases and accidents. I was happier with my toy trains and my window garden and my books. A bell rings. It's time for the ceremony. The ceremony is solemn. Members of the family take turns to lay flowers on the coffin and say a few words. The driver places a flower but says nothing. You find them later in the shadow of a rose bush brought all the way from old London. It was Father who said I should leave, you know. Their voice is quiet. I had to work after all, and he knew I liked botany. He arranged a position for me at the nature reserve and booked passage on a reputable engine. First time I'd left New Winchester. Lay your hand on the driver's shoulder. The awkwardness of the moment should not keep you from offering comfort. We crashed with inside of our destination. When I stumbled into port, I wasn't afraid of anything anymore. I thought I'd found my courage in the wilds, but it was the verdant, wasn't it? It colonized me and took away my fear. The driver looks at the house, to the dark window of the playroom. When it's done with me, which version of myself will remain? They frown. Can we go now? Mm-hmm. The gardens are planted with somber species imported from old Earth and grown under the golden light of the clockwork sun. The veins of the leaves are delicate as cut glass. The philanthropist has alerted the local conductor of your arrival. He meets you beside a gray statue of a serene mermaid. His voice is plummy and moneyed. My hansom will take us from here. Thank you, friend.
Like old plumbing stuff.
A famous Tackety general has been sighted. New Winchester is feverish with speculation, particularly as the general died in the liberation of the port. Everyone has a story about the dead general, intriguing sobriquets like the Butcher, the Stalwart, the Vanquisher, the Bloody-Handed circulate. The prudent secretary is eager for any information that can be found on the returned war criminal. The indolent veteran is desperate for confirmation the hero has returned. Some determined skulking nets you a little more concrete information. The general has been sighted at Magdalene's, where people have apparently been able to secure an audience in the solace chambers. The details vary. One excitable young gentleman swears blind the general was gray of face, bleeding from his mortal wounds. But the salient fact is constant. Is it an attendant impersonating the general, or is the general impersonating an attendant?
Okay, a little bit of business environment. Maybe. And I believe there's more to do in Victoria City.
That's not something to do until...
Sunless,
Yeah, that's...
Passage to the White Well.
Yep, which I think is in the Blue Kingdom,
I
so...
think it is. Well, well, well.
Let's hire on some more crew.
Did you take the political poll at New Winchester?
I think so, yes. Yep. If I didn't, it's not there,
Must
so...
have. What the heck is under ambition wealth again? What do we even need to be doing here?
Purchase the governor's
mansion. The first step. How much is it?
5,000.
Oh. Could have done it earlier.
Yeah.
Well, I had to have a sick ride first, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
Need to get some hydraulics on it.
The sick ride is the first step to making money even faster, so...
Spend it to make it, so they say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, how many crew does this engine want?
Let's see... Minimum crew is 10.
Oh, cool. Doesn't need that many.
Yeah. Alright, so I need 5 and 3 seeds.
Someone else need 5 more?
Not on the travel leg that I'm going right now. Let me check my journal to be sure that... Entering the Regent's Grave. Okay, now. I was thinking, did they want even more literature for something else? But
Oh, yeah, you're gonna want to off 3 Bs and get a report from the circus.
okay.
Get a report from the Bs and off the circus. Oh no.
I'll want to get the port report from the circus on my way out, though. Right?
Yeah, you'll be bringing it to
Yeah,
the Rose Society.
yeah. Which is a little inconvenient since circus is here and way out is over here. So we'll have to do like Circus Magdalene's Port Prosper. Maybe Carillon, but not necessarily. But also Lustrum again at some point.
Yeah, where is it, Lustrum?
I have another opportunity there.
Oh.
That's where more of the literature is going. Yeah.
Like probably Lustrum and Prosper then.
Well, Lustrum, then back to Winchester, because Lustrum is where I take my port reports now.
Ah.
So, Lustrum, Winchester, Circus, Magdalene, Prosper.
Yeah.
This outing is probably just going to be Port Avon, Trader's Wood, and back. Maybe Nature Reserve while I'm down here. That would certainly help me encounter some bees.
Definitely. It's a good way to find bees and bronze wood, hives for finding, and sometimes also bees.
Uh-huh. That would
Can be sweet.
get me some stuff. Right then.
Onward and
Yep.
big train go.
Mm-hmm. Feels a little faster, but that might just be my imagination.
It does feel faster now. No tank game.
Don't jank. Yes, hi, Ribby. She tab.
She's a face.
Melted. Cheap fuel.
40 course. Selling seeds! You like seeds. You got your experience in Port Avon welcome, so that's good there. It's fine, it's fine, it's dumb, it's fine. Dumb but fine.
With all the hold space I have now, it's fine. Report.
Yep. Signal boy.
Ah, yes. On the trail of the quixotic squire.
The defunct Isambard line.
The signalmen search for the quixotic squire, patron of the defunct Isambard line. Oh, hey, Mom? Would you mind pouring me some more drink? And getting some more ice? The crystal light this time? Thank you.
I was about to council downshifting, it's midnight.
Yep. The signalmen's search for the quixotic squire, patron of the defunct Isambard line, has led you to Port Avon. The squire's house clings to a lonely skyrock drifting above the village, but it is in obvious disuse. Its roof caved and its windows boarded. The signalman tuts. Typical. You are not so easily deterred. Someone here will know what became of the squire. Speak to the vicar. He ushers you into the vicarage and offers you tea. Oh, sure. Sure, that'll be fine. And offers you tea, which he perhaps hopes will ameliorate his news. I'm sorry, the vicar says. The squire passed away several years ago. The signalman frowns. You were younger than me. Sad circumstances. His wife had contracted an unusual illness. Here he taps the glass lens of his spectacles. There was no recovery. The squire had an hour loom constructed in his cellar and spent the remainder of his wealth on hours, which he used to draw out the last of their time together. While months passed for us and for her, years passed for him at her sickbed. When she passed, he had used up what was left of his own time, too.
That's sad.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
The mouth of a Briton, a touch could be scathing or sympathetic. This one you hope is more.
It says, the world is a terrible place, and we do what we must to endure it.
You can also sip your tea, a small gesture provides with this pretense of privacy. Oh boy. I have no idea what these supposed to do, if anything.
The vicar gives you a bolstering smile. The signalman puts his tea down. We're none of us good at letting go, are we, vicar? No, the vicar answers. It's not surprising. After all, is there any question more terrifying than what comes next? You depart. The signalman is wrapped in thought.
Oh, so there's a political pulse in our act. Like an Indian. Or maybe it's just in one of the places? I have
Maybe
no
it wasn't.
idea now.
Maybe it was just one of the places. Sure, let's recruit a few more. Or one more.
Nice.
I can do better.
Definitely.
Hearts. 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 Little heart. Yeah, that's better. Failure. In A Tale of Terror. A milky mist billows across the sky. The stones pour cold shadows over you. They loom like stooping giants. You are so tiny, so fleeting. You hurry from their choking immensity, seeking the smaller, familiar shapes of cottages, of trees, of locals leaning on their painted gates.
You can try it again.
I could, but that would wear out welcome.
Yeah, it's like 6 now.
Lower than that, I think.
6 or 5, somewhere around there. You get a little when you grind the scenes.
Yeah, that brought it up to 8, but I think I've
Yep.
used more than 2. I mean, maybe I haven't, but... Alright.
Okay, so you want to talk to Signal Boy on board train.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he needs a book. I'll
Needs
do that.
literature. Oh no!
I will do that later.
Yes.
Because, like, I have enough literature, just not on me.
Grab 1 literature and talk to Signal Boy. Okay. Ooh, a moment of inspiration.
Yep.
Yeah, you got those. Besides, he might upgrade or something cool. Offers requests are long, but they are usually worth it. It's faster, it just feels a lot more agile because it's turning at the same rate as a smaller train does.
Maybe.
It'd be funny if it feels faster in boost mode too. Oh god, we're actually going too fast! Ah! Oh no, the scary music's back.
No.
Complete pulsating terror bar.
Let's see.
That means you're gradually getting terror from ambiance.
Yeah.
Getting spooked by the Indians.
Those are the freaking eels. Oh hey, I do have a princess on board. You know what those are, Your Highness? Those are the freaking eels.
Legend has it they're actually delicious. You just don't have a camera.
Yep. How bizarre. Do, 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 do.
Oh, this is active because you have something.
Yeah, because of the scholars.
Scholars. Cool. Jing.
Vision of the Heavens, 150. The classicists are delighted, but you can't please the theologians. Too fanciful, apparently. The medievalists cannot seem to come to a definitive conclusion. You're paid well, all the same, and invited to go stargazing in the Palewood. Tea for sale.
Buy tea. Everyone likes tea. Please?
I certainly have enough room for it. I'll come back for it after the
And you have this because of some other quality. Magnifying glass.
academe.
Academe. Nah, they're trying to sell you wood. That's funny. You don't have any sheep on board. Yes, I think so.
Okay, expeditions into the woods deep. The more you take, the likelier your success, but at a risk of losing them. Prepare for a large expedition. Yeah. You'll bring every able body willing.
Let's go hard.
A sizable contingent of your crew volunteers to follow you into the wood. Packs are hoisted onto shoulders, rations divided and sensibly stored in little tubs. We're with you, Captain, a stout signaler tells you. Somerset College has, until recently, funded expeditions into the forest. Those who return speak of voices on the wind, of murmurs in uninhabited groves. Prepare for an expedition to the Steward's Font. The Somerset scholars believe that the font will provide clues to the identity of the king in the regent's grave. Moderate difficulty. Oh no.
Also, says worldly artifacts.
Yep.
Never in bronze wood is the greater difficulty. Yep. Let's do the cool one.
The scholars share, individually, what they know. Their transcriptions of the correspondence differ significantly, and they refuse to work together on a single translation. Well, it would probably catch fire if they did. So...
Yeah, they're all like carefully writing it so it's not actually correct, and they use slightly different alterations.
Still, it should be enough to get the general idea of the font, general area of the font. You gather your crew and make for the edge of the Whispering Wood. The scholars emerge from their tents to wave you off.
Otherwise, they're just gonna burn.
Both are 100%. So,
If you can go hard at 100, let's do it. Ding!
success. Brandy is passed about in little flasks until you have to remind people not to get rotten drunk in the middle of a thunderstorm. The going is quieter after that, but swifter. Eventually the storm passes. You emerge into a field of purple flowers, bright as new bruises. Captain, the stoker's voice is anxious. Can you hear them? Something whispers from beneath the petals. What do they know? Maybe you can learn. 92%? 100%.
What do they know?
What do they know?
What do they show? Where do they go? Let's click in.
When you sleep. The scent of the flowers is sweet but sour, like that of rotten raspberries. The smell overpowers your nostrils as the voices overwhelm your ears, filling them with a constant babble. Your crew join you in the long grass, wandering through the cacophony of flowers. Petals open tiny mouths. They whisper directions, only half in a language you speak. They tell you of groves and graves, the treacheries which happened, the defiance, the kingdom overthrown. Eventually, they even tell you the way to leave.
Oh, glad they didn't waste too much time.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys are
Long shadows move through the silver trees ahead. There is a mournful howl. Someone sounds hungry, as Stoker tries to joke. A low growling comes from behind you. The beasts have your scent. 100%, 100%.
kick their butts or
Kick their butts. You exhort your crew to stand their ground. Grotesque beasts, mockeries of earthly animals, emerge from the tree line. Their pelts are ragged and mangled with exposed inner organs. Their tusks curve cruelly. It is impossible to avoid thoughts of disembowelment. Each stares as if famished. You do not give an inch. You sound the first barrage, then the second, and the third. The trees trap the smoke. Your crew coughs and chokes, but the beast's blood flows freely. The beast's howls are discordants. You stop your ears and bring them down, one by miserable one. Gained an uncanny specimen. The ground gives way to a bog, gray and fetid as a newly slain corpse. It burps lazily. The marsh reeds susurrate, growing in volume as you approach. There is English amidst the polyphony, names, yours and those of your crew. Search for another route.
yeah.
The wood extends for miles, but so too does the bog, as though it were once a river or a moat. It is hours before you find a passable clearing, a glade of emerald hue nestled between a copse of silver trees that shiver and sigh like consumptives.
Thanks, Emily.
The trees whisper as you pass. They lie in a dozen languages, only half known to you and your crew. The discordance shivers beneath the boughs. Correspondence ignites wood that shrieks as though not meant to speak it. Wood burns and breaks. The passing is treacherous and slow. Eventually, however, you emerge.
Funky.
Enter the steward's font. Below the thundering white water, a cave is visible, just under the lip of the rock. You scale down the wet rock face and into the cave. It is several moments before your eyes adjust to the light. The cavern is not natural. The walls are covered with bronze wood and studded with Navarrete gemstones, driven in too deep to remove. Distant starlight from the cave mouth reflects off the stones, filling the cave with radiance. Towards the back of the cave, you find a silver seal the size of a crown and a curved crescent blade. Correspondence is scored on the blade's battered metal. It is too large to move, but you record the sigils. Perhaps one of the scholars will be able to translate. You take the seal.
Or. New mascot. Silver Seal.
And none of their ideas make any sense.
Yeah, especially the theologian in the failing room.
Mm-hmm.
What is Charlemagne doing up here? Like, what? No. Your ideas are stupid, and they sound stupid. It's dumb.
Like I could believe that these woods are Avalon, and so it would be Arthur.
Yeah, or like of the three we're given, the Sumerian goddess makes the most potential sense, and even then, not much.
Yeah. The classicist's tent is practical and largely unornamented. The interior is damp from her various walking clothes, which have been scattered across the floor, old playbills and blah 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 blah. Well, what did you find? They do not share their findings with rivals and guard their research jealously.
That's big one of these doofuses.
Yeah.
You're all wrong.
She snatches the paper from your hands. A moment later, she laughs. It's a gift. An office of some kind. Ceremonial, no doubt. The kings of Sumeria gave out offices to their favorites, usually at religious observances, just as their office came from the Queen of Heaven and the rest. She pauses. She goes for pen and paper. By the time she's finished, she looks concerned. I've never heard of this particular office. Tamer of the King's Bower. There's also a reference to the giggling place and directions. I'll mark it on your map. Take an expedition to the giggling place. I'm going to want to come back with more food and fuel. I have plenty of time. I can get that later. Yeah, I can only get food here. Only supplies, so I'll have to go back to Port Avon.
Now, you do have business at Regent's Grave proper.
Yes, but I'll have to go on another expedition for that.
Oh. Oh, that's annoying. So
Yep.
you had business at Regent's Grave, but it made you go elsewhere instead.
Yeah, I mean, Regent's Grave is technically right over here, but I can't, like...
Right.
There's not a landing there.
I mean, it had you go to the other place instead of Regent's Grave. In terms of your options for your
Yeah.
expedition.
Unless I can just go to the Regent's Grave over there and interact with it directly.
I guess you could always fly by the border and find out.
Yeah. Yeah. Either way, I'll want to stock up first. Alright. Plenty of fuel and supplies. Those things. There it is. Got a little overzealous there.
Oh, hey.
Certain date. There's a tentative knock at your cabin door. Opening it, you find one of your more gregarious junior signalers. I've been going through the crew records, she tells you. I found something interesting. It's the anniversary of the conductor's stepping from the stone. The crew wants to mark the occasion with a little shindig. Is she suppressing a grin? The clay conductor will hate it, but it would be good for him in his relationship with the crew. You'll be on hand to supervise. Sure, right in the middle of combat. Let's hold a party.
Fight party. Woo!
The signaler's face falls. You'll attend? I wasn't I mean, I'll get started right away. Together, you prepare the galley for a celebration. You convince your cook to fetch the better brandy and to make something a little special. When the hour arrives, you lure the clay conductor in. To everyone's surprise, he stays. He makes painful small talk with your stokers and drinks far too much of the punch. Your crew regard him like a talking bear, but everyone is polite. While your crew are engaged in a game of poker that will definitely require disciplinary action later, the conductor tracks you down. He babbles earnestly about Aklis in Eleutheria and the clay men who work for the Murgatroyd Company. He would very much like to visit.
Playbo wants to go to Aklis in Eleutheria.
Mm-hmm.
Go carefully here.
Two supplies.
Profit of one.
Yeah.
Go carefully, you marauders. Reach marauders. Listen to the ones outside.
Signal the wreck.
Oh.
Gained 1 crew and 50 experience. Your signaler fetches their signal lamp and flashes a patient message into each portside window. There, a faltering glow burns in the frost. Someone has struck a match. You dispatch a boarding party. They retrieve a survivor who is eager to sign on, and a hard worker, if surly from their long isolation. Oh no. I keep hitting that one chunk. Yeah.
Make such disgusting sounds.
Ugh. Friggin'. No!
Oh! No, that was the wrong direction.
I zigged when I should have zagged. Oops. Repair. Sure. Oh yeah. Oh! Caught my butt.
Okay, that shot hardly scratched you. Of course, there's various other things in it.
Good. Get some hold back. And all the way healed. Okay. This is the way.
Yeah, did you see that silly thing with Risu, the Japanese space habitat famous for its long trees and such giant creatures explorers?
I saw that you posted it, but I hadn't watched it.
I just love the name. Oh, there's squirrel habitat Risu.
Just call it squirrel. Oop, nope. Feathers? I think those are just beams.
Really? It looked like they were hooking feathers at like pinions. Glowing red pinions.
No, I think those are just like energy beams, plasma beams. Ah!
I think the fact that they exploded and it looks like feathers makes me think
Hmm.
of feathers.
Spyreek. Here at the heart of the forest, a great barrow built from ancient stone stands. Gates of star-forged bronze block the entrance. Force open the gate.
And we say, hooray!
Something is whispering from the other side.
Your fiddly.
The gates will not budge. The metal scrapes and screams against the rock, and your arms strain with the effort, but the gate holds fast. The whispering increases in volume from the darkness, but fades away as it becomes apparent you won't succeed. Inlaid in the middle of the gate are 3 hollows, the shape of seals. You can see no sign of any such object nearby. Perhaps the station at Trader's Wood might be a starting point.
Wait, you have to go on 3 big expeditions and collect the 3 seals.
Apparently.
Really?
So it would seem.
Okay, sure. That's the coldest.
A sack butt.
That's just an ancient term for drop dead.
Wait. Is that what? Is that what they mean?
But
Wouldn't they call that thing a cul-de-sac? Are they calling it a trombone?
probably not.
Okay, well, I gained quite a lot of supplies while I was out that way, but spent fuel. So I need to replenish that before I go back down. perhaps as late as it is, I should head back to New Winchester, and we can, oh no.
No!
Conduct a thorough search.
That's only 53%. Dang.
You have guests aboard. Well,
That's bad.
they can stop at port and expel them, at least. Any port.
This one?
Yes. I shouldn't have to go all the way to New Winchester. Well, I thought so, anyway. Actually, for the cleanest finish, let's New Winchester and then to Lustrum to turn in those port reports. Hello, Vince.
Oh, don't forget to grab one literature and talk to Sigmund.
Ah, yes.
Never saw any bees.
Yeah, we didn't really go into bee territory.
We can't stop here.
This is bee country. Except it isn't. Can't stop here. This is Donkey Kong country. Keyboard.
Batteries out and charge them again.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm guessing they reached full charge, were disconnected, and self-discharged to zero without the charger noticing. They're not zero, but low.
Yeah.
Weird dreams and
Nice. Success. Already, your dream seems distant and silly. Another upheaval has shaken New Winchester. The Tacketies, having fought their way back from near defeat at the hands of the Windward Company, have returned. Hobnail boots tread the streets again, and talk of independence is heard once more in the tea and gin houses. Their colonial assembly has returned to Victory Hall, repaired the shattered windows, and resumed arguing exactly where they left off. Oh, well then.
alright.
As the Tacketies approached New Winchester, the Windward Company made a last-minute attempt to destroy Victory Hall, but a band of Tackety sympathizers occupied and defended the hall until the relief forces could secure it. Now both sides of the conflict must share the port again, and the balance of power in the Reach has returned to its traditional state of simmering stalemate.
Change will affect things. The renewed conflict means wrecks are more common. Undermine Skyrock's lesson.
Deal with your unwanted guests.
No charge. They're minutes to shipping.
Yup.
They brought an amateur brass band along.
The guests, a volunteer claims, cannot abide the tuba.
Boom, 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 boom.
Once the volunteers have stripped your engine bare and piled its contents on the platform, the band strikes up in your galley. Soon the guests begin to squirm frantically from your engine. You can't blame them. As each emerges, it is scooped up with a shovel and popped into a steel bucket, which is then rolled away to destinations unknown.
There's something just deeply comedic about, like, a freaking steam engine as an oopon band walk into it, and little squirmy monsters go fleeing in horror from the oopon. It is much too greasy.
Actually, I suppose I can deposit that for now as well. Okay.
Has that been unraveling in Reach? I think it has.
And I'll save that chat for next week as well, I think. Alright.
So, talk to Sigma. Take an expedition to Traders Wood. Giggling Place. Remind the region's grave thing. Apparently, it's like the freaking Zelda trope of do 3 things. Oh, now you gotta do 6 things. That's the boss. Okay. That belongs to the necklace. Got it.
Cool.
This notebook is now much more streamlined than it had been.
Very good. Would you please get the
Big
desk?
Piles of Brabazon stuff.
Thank you all so much for watching. I'll be back on Saturday for where we'll be continuing Chroma Squad. And next Thursday will be more of this. Now let's see who's around to raid.
On Saturday.
Not a soul. Okay, well, I'll just sign off then. Thanks, and see you next time. Good night, folks.